Hey residents of MeepleTown, today we are looking at Beatdown, Streets of Justice, which is a cooperative card game where you are stringing these combos so you can defeat the thugs and eventually be able to get to the boss and defeat the boss. So let's get to the table and check out Beatdown, Streets of Justice. Alright, so here is the setup for Beatdown, Streets of Justice. And in this game, we are going to be playing the intro scenario, which is against Tutoria Tech, which means against Tutoria Tech, we're actually initially going to put out the tutorial dummy as one of the, as one of the enemies that we're going to fight right off the bat. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on right here, but don't worry about all these decks of cards and everything right now. I'll kind of explain this as we go. But the first thing that we're going to do is we each have 3 cards in our hand now, and we have the attack deck right here, which is going to be the cards that we're going to be drawing to attack with, along with the ones that are in our hand. Now, I have started off with Knock Knock is one of the characters, and Big Joe is the other one. They both have their starting combo rating, which the lower the number, the better in the combo rating. And the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to roll our 10-sided die. And the player with the lowest number in this case is the lowest combo rating is going to be the first player. And so how you're going to figure that out is I've got a 7 here and a 0 here, which is going to be a total of 7. And then here we've got 3 plus 1, and that is a total of 4. And so the Big Joe's team will go first, and then Knock Knock. And they each have these 6-sided dice. They're going to use these to pick who they're going to attack initially. So, and what we're trying to do is to defeat Tutoria Tech, and that's going to happen after 3 full rounds of defeating waves of enemies. So I'm not going to play all of that. I'm just going to kind of give you an idea of how it plays out. So what's going to happen is the Big Joe is going to place first. They're going to put their attack die there because they want to attack the tutorial dummy. And then Knock Knock, I think, is going to go ahead and just try to attack this thug. Ooh, although it would be nice to be able to get that sidewalk samurai out of there so that that doesn't affect our combo rating. So I think I'm going to change my mind on this. I'm going to have both players attack sidewalk samurai. And so what's going to happen is the blue player is going to start first, and they're going to play a card from their hand. I'm just going to kind of move these dice out of the way, and we're going to start with the enemy that we are attacking. We're both attacking the sidewalk samurai. So what Big Joe is going to do is play a card. I'm just going to play this one. It is the old 1-2, and there's a lot going on this card. And what you kind of need to know is that when you're placing this card, this die right here is going to be the amount that you're going to be attacking the sidewalk samurai. There's also lots of other symbols on here, but I will, we'll kind of explain that as needed, I guess. But that's the attack. This is going to affect our combo rating as well as this for this particular round. Up here, we have this little bell symbol, and that is going to show us that we are going to have a... if we roll our die, that's going to lower the amount that we would need for a crit. So now that we've played this card, what we're going to do is we're going to roll our die. If we want to continue attacking, we're going to roll this die, and this number needs to be higher than the number that is our total combo rating. So in this case, we've got quite a high combo rating. We've got a 3, 2, that's 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to have to roll pretty high to be able to attack again. Now, I'm a little hesitant. Part of me wants to just say, let's just call it, but I think I will. I'll just go ahead and I'm going to try to lay another card down. I rolled a 1, of course, which means the enemy is going to counter attack. Now, that doesn't just wipe out my entire turn. It just means that the sidewalk samurai is going to hit me. Now, here's what I have left open. I've left my head open when I went for the old 1-2. And so when the enemy attacks, if I flip over a head card for them to attack, that would be a crit, and that is really bad. So in this case, It says none of this. It says make him hop. None of this matters with this bar right here, which would tell you who it's going to attack. Well, he's attacking Big Joe because that's who he's lined up with right now. It says just when you think you have your opponent on the ropes, they drop to a knee and drive their left arm straight up into your abdomen, lifting you a good foot into the air, which is going to take 4 damage on this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And this card will just get shuffled back into this deck after that happens. Now, I'm a little reluctant because, again, I've got to roll a pretty high number to be able to continue on. So I think because they're both attacking Sidewalk Samurai, I'm just going to hope that Knock Knock will have better luck. I am just going to stop right there, which means I'm going to go from left to right of my cards that I'm attacking with and roll, and that will show what damage I do to Sidewalk Samurai. So we're hoping for a higher number, which is a 5. Not bad. So I will... He's at 20. I'm going to move that to 15. So ideally what we would like to happen is for Knock Knock to just lay into Sidewalk Samurai right now. So the good thing about Knock Knock, and this card's going to go away, the good thing about Knock Knock is that he has a lower combo rating. Starts off with a 0. So that's going to be very helpful. And I think what I'm going to do is... well, unfortunately, this isn't what Big Joe had. That would have been nicer. But this is a fast start, which means I'm only going to hit for 1, and it's a 0 combo rating, which is helpful. And then it says your hero's combo rating is ignored for this combo. Well, it doesn't really matter because Knock Knock's combo rating is 0. And so I'm going to, for sure, roll because I only need to be able to... I've got a 0, 1, 2, 3, so I need to roll a 3 or higher. And I got a star, which is a crit, and that is really, really helpful. So what is going to happen first off, if I roll a crit, I'm going to get a loot card, which is going to go onto my equipment. Combo closer in this case. That's what I drew. And I can then, during the next player's combo, other players may give them attack cards. So I can use this as a combo closer if I want to in the future. So that's going to be really helpful. But also what is really helpful is that when I roll that crit, that's like rolling a 10 as far as your combo rating goes. But it also means that I will be able to, if I play a card that has a crit symbol at the top here, that thing's going to take effect right away. And so if I play this next please, it says deal damage to the next enemy in line equal to half the target's total health, which is really, really powerful. In this case, the target's total health is 15, and so I would do 7 damage if I played that one immediately. So I will do that. And let's see, they're at 15, so that's going to bump them down to a total of 8 damage. Really, really useful. And the thing is, I'm actually doing pretty well on my combo rating still because I'm at a 0. There's 1, 2, that's 2, 3, 4. So I would just need to roll a 4 or higher. And let's see, do I want to risk it? Now I only have 1 card in my hand. You don't refill your hand. So if I do this, I can either play this card or... after I roll my die if I'm successful, or I can flip this over and do the attack on there. So I think what I'm going to do, I will go ahead and continue to attack. I rolled an 8, which is a which is higher than what I needed. Now I didn't say this, if you have any stars showing, which I do, Knock Knock always has 1 available, and if I do that, then I can, I would only need to roll a 9 to get a crit. Now I think what I'm going to do is I am just going to randomly flip over a card here to be the attack, and that only is going to do 1 damage, which is kind of annoying, but it also doesn't add anything to the combo rating, so that's not bad either. Now it says if I played this in the second round that I would also get 2 stars, meaning in this case I would have 3 total stars. I would only need to roll a 7, but since I'm playing this as my 3rd card, it's not useful. So I'm just going to keep attacking. I got a 4, and again my number is 1, 2, 3, and so I can just keep playing. I will keep playing because I did roll that. I'm going to flip the random card over again instead of using mine, and that's going to add a higher 1 to my combo rating. Let's see, and that's going to have 4 damage, and that's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5. It's getting up there a little bit higher. Knock Knock doesn't really want to get hit, and so I think Wow, it's not an awful thing to do though. I could just keep attacking. I need knock needs to hit Sidewalk Samurai for a total of 15. Right now I'm at 1, that's 4, 5, and 9. I would only need 6 more. That's kind of tempting. So I think what I'll do, yeah, what the hey, I'll go for it. Because if I can knock out Sidewalk Samurai, that would be very helpful. I did get a 5, which is exactly what I needed, and so I will just flip over a random card again, which is going to be a die value, and this is where I will stop because I do have a higher combo rating there now, meaning I would have to roll a pretty high number. So I think what I'm going to do is, yep, I'll stop, and what I'll do is I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4 damage, 5 plus 4 is 9, and I'll get to roll my attack die. 9 plus 1, that's no good, which is 10, but that's not bad. So I will just, let's see, move this down there, move that there, and I only have to hit Sidewalk Samurai for a total of 5 now. Now what's going to happen, that's going to be the end of that phase, and now the enemy is going to attack. So I will flip out an enemy attack for each of these. This is Rain of Blows, and this shows who the target is. It says the slowest player to cover their head, meaning, you know, obviously I can't do that because I'm playing by myself, but the slowest player to cover their head would be the one that gets hit 2. In this case, I'll just give that damage to Big Joe over there. He looks slower than Knock Knock. And this is a fumble, so nobody. So Sidewalk Samurai does 0 damage, which is really helpful for me. And then this case is the player with the most trophies. Nobody has any trophies, and so we're just going to do the damage to whoever. Since I hit Big Joe the first time, I'm going to hit Knock Knock this time for 4, and they'll be at 16. So what we would do is we would kind of reset. We're going to keep playing through. We would keep playing through. We would try to knock out all of these, and when we do that, then eventually if we can get through 3 waves, we're going to play through Tutoria Tech as the boss character, and they have 30 damage, and that's just kind of how the game plays out. Hopefully that gives you an idea of what else would happen. And yeah, so we'll stop right there. And one thing I didn't mention is obviously you don't want everyone to get knocked out. If everyone gets knocked out, you lose. If somebody gets knocked out, it's not the end of the world, because if you defeat these thugs out here, these enemies out here, then you will be able to use them as trophies to spend to gain health in between rounds. So anyway, that is the gist of Beatdown Streets of Justice. Let's look at our final thoughts. All right, so that was Beatdown Streets of Justice. Let's talk first about the art and components. So first, I'll talk about the art, because I think the art can be polarizing. I think you're really going to like this art, or I think you might not like it at all. In this case, I think it's okay on some of it. I really actually like the way that you have this like thick border around the illustrations. I think that's really cool. But some of the people on the cards, I'm just not the biggest fan of. But the components in the game, I think, are really well done. You've got the thick card boards of the player boards. You've got the nice dice, the clear cubes. Everything seems to be pretty clear overall. So I really think overall the art and components are really well done. And the box has the magnetic lid on it, which I think is a nice touch. Now the gameplay itself, let's talk about that. I think this is it's an interesting game. I'll say that. There are some things that I really like about this game, and there's some things that I'm just kind of ho-hum on. I would say that the things that I like about the game is the card combos and like the push your luck element of this game. Because what you're doing is you're playing out your cards, obviously, and when you play them, you also have to do that dice check. And when you do that, you have to really think, okay, there's a good chance that I'm not going to be able to get this combo through, but if I can, wow, that's going to be really, really helpful to get this card out. And I think that's an interesting element. If you've ever played the Betrayal at House on the Hill and you're rolling those Omen dice, it kind of has that feel to an extent, except you have control over what you're doing. But then even if you don't have a good die roll, sometimes there's ways to mitigate that. But also, it doesn't mean that it's the end of your turn. It just means that that the enemy's going to fight back. And so you can actually continue to play card combos, but again, you're pushing your luck because you have to make sure that your health stays in a healthy position. So I do enjoy that piece of it. I think the cooperative element with those tag team cards I think is really good, so it's not just multiplayer solitaire cooperative, which, you know, cooperative games can be sometimes. Sometimes you're not actually feeding off of other people, so I think that's pretty neat too. Now, I will say this is a game that doesn't necessarily, you know, full on just excite me. I think it's cool, and I think some of those mechanisms that are used are cool, but overall this isn't a game that I'm going to want to play all of the time. I think in some ways it's not a super complex game, but the rule books, one, the rule book's not great, I don't think, but also there's some convoluted elements on, okay, what do I do? What do these symbols mean? There's some of that, but I feel like it could have been streamlined more. And a game like this, where you're just wanting to sit down and beat down some enemies in the cards, you don't want something that has this heavier rule set that you have to keep referring back to the rule book. And I think this game is one of those games that you have to, at least initially, till you can get those rules down pat. Then if you don't play the game for a couple months, you're going to have to reread the rules. So that's a negative for this type of game. I want to be able to just sit down, play out the card combos, and play that out. But anyway, I think it is a fun game. I don't think everyone's going to like it, but if you're looking for a cooperative game where you are truly doing things that you can feed off of each other, and if you really like building up cool card combos, I think this might be a game for you. For me, overall, I give this game a 6. Not a bad game at all. It's just not one that I'm going to want to play all the time. So anyway, that is Beatdown Streets of Justice. Thanks for coming down to MeepleTown.
Thanks for joining us, and be sure to follow us on Twitter at MeepleTown Games, and connect with us on the MeepleTown Guild number 3407 at BoardGameGeek.com, and also subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel. And until next time, thanks for coming down to MeepleTown.